In today's video, I'll be revealing the contrarian approach to Social Security claiming that lets you retire earlier with less stress, and why the conventional wisdom to wait until 70 or full retirement age might actually be completely wrong for your situation. Through analyzing hundreds of retirement scenarios and tracking actual retiree satisfaction, I've discovered that claiming Social Security earlier at 62 can actually create a more enjoyable retirement experience when combined with specific lifestyle adjustments and income strategies. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why this works, how to implement it, and the strategies that can help you enjoy your retirement sooner with less stress. We'll cover the overlooked advantages of claiming early, the spousal optimization strategy that protects couples in the long term, and most importantly, how to make the best claiming decision for your overall plan. And make sure you stick with me till the end because I'll also walk you through a step-by-step implementation blueprint so you'll know exactly how to make this approach work for your exact situation. Let's dive in. Now, whether you delay or claim Social Security early, you need to understand the advantages and disadvantages of that decision. So let's start with the most obvious but often misunderstood point, the early claiming advantage. When you claim Social Security at 62, you immediately start receiving income. Now, that means that you don't have to rely as heavily on your portfolio during those first critical years of your retirement. For many retirees, those early years are when you're spending the most, traveling, enjoying hobbies, and yes, spoiling grandkids. And it's also the time when you're most subject to sequence of returns risk, which I like to call retiring at the wrong time risk. Having Social Security checks coming in right away means that you don't have to drain your nest egg as quickly. In fact, by starting at 62, you're effectively adding 8 years of income that delayed claimers will miss out on until later. Depending on your benefit amount, that could be anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 of additional cash flow. And here's the kicker. Those are the years when you're healthiest and most active. So here's an example of how it works. Let's say that you need $100,000 to live on and Social Security claimed early on would provide you $30,000. That means you'd only need to take about $70,000 from your portfolio rather than the full $100,000. This reduces that withdrawal percentage necessary from your portfolio, which not only can increase your fixed income flows and allow you to spend that amount more freely, but it also allows you to reduce the necessary spend from the portfolio and keep more dollars in the portfolio for the long run. To take that a step further, there's also a compounding effect for later on in retirement. Now, the market isn't going to go up every single year, but we do know that the market is up more often than it is down. And more dollars in your portfolio growing at that percentage just leads to more and more compounding later on in retirement. Now, here's the reality. Retirement isn't just about financial optimization. It's about timing. It's about aligning your income with the years when you can actually use it. And the sad truth is that I've seen too many times is that too many retirees miss this window. They delay and delay and delay, whether it be Social Security or whether it be working too long, and only to find out that later never comes, or when it does, it's not what they imagined. Because retirement is stressful when you're worried about where your income is coming from. And the earlier you have guaranteed income flowing in, the less pressure you feel on your investments and the more clarity and confidence you have to enter into retirement. And if you unfortunately retired in a down market, that's huge. Imagine it's 2008 or most recently 2020 and your portfolio is down 30%. If you're waiting on Social Security, you're forced to withdraw heavily from a declining portfolio. But if you already have Social Security come in, you can preserve your investments and ride out the downturn. That's why I like to tell clients to think of it this way. Social Security is a lever that you can pull if needed. And for a lot of people, that need is psychological just as much as it is mathematical. Because being able to rely on Social Security income every month means that during a market downturn, when maybe your portfolio goes from $1 million, to use a round number, let's say down to $700,000, in that case, you don't need to rely on the portfolio quite so much if there's a Social Security income stream that's coming to you each month. That increases the effect of what I mentioned before, which means more dollars less in the portfolio to grow for the long run, in many cases, will lead to more money invested later as well. And there's also something I like to call the bird in hand principle. Having money now, income that you can actually use today, often creates more peace of mind than the promise of a bigger paycheck years from now. And a lot of retirees underestimate just how powerful this is. The confidence of knowing that you have reliable income today reduces stress and helps you enjoy life more fully. And as much as anything, it prevents you from making bad decisions out of fear. Now, some people will say you're giving up higher benefits later. And yes, that's absolutely true. And for some people, that's the right decision. But what's rarely discussed is that Social Security isn't just about maximizing lifetime benefits. It's about matching your income to your life stages. And the extra years of income you get from claiming early often do more for your lifestyle than the slightly higher check that you'll get later on. And here's something else to think about. Early claiming transforms Social Security from a future promise into an immediate lifestyle enhancer. It becomes real, tangible cash flow, almost like your income never turned off. And it's something that you can use to fund experiences, reduce your withdrawal rates, and create flexibility in your budget. In fact, some people have expenses that are entirely paid for from their Social Security benefits, even if they claim early. Now, if that's the case, it can make a lot of sense to simply claim early, cover your basic expenses with that benefit, and then use the portfolio either for those one-time expenses or for your discretionary spending along the way. Or simply, you can let the portfolio continue to grow for other goals that you have for later on in retirement. So when you step back and look at it, early claiming doesn't just mean a smaller check. It means a head start on your retirement income, reduced portfolio pressure, increased psychological security, and yes, more years of actual enjoyment. That's the real advantage to claiming early. And by claiming earlier, you're not just getting income earlier. You're protecting your portfolio, giving it room to grow, and creating psychological stability that helps you stick to your overall long-term plan for retirement. And to many people, that's an advantage the math charts don't show, but it's one that makes a huge difference in real life. So now that you understand these Social Security claiming strategies, book a call using the link in the description, and I'll analyze your situation to help you determine your optimal claiming approach. Now, when it comes to Social Security, married couples have unique opportunities to maximize benefits while protecting each other for the long term. And the strategy I'm about to share is both simple, yet incredibly powerful. Now, one of the strategic moves that we'll often make with clients is having the lower earning spouse claim at 62 before having a spousal benefit when the higher earning spouse claims later on down the road. For a lot of people, this is a form of getting income starting to come your way early on in retirement while still delaying the higher earner's benefit for the highest possible survivor benefit. Assuming a couple is married, it does make sense to explore this strategy as a way of claiming early, protecting the portfolio from large withdrawals early on, and still having that peace of mind that you're not completely reducing both benefits by claiming Social Security early for both spouses. Now, statistically speaking, women tend to live 5 to 7 years longer than men. That means for many couples, the wife will outlive her husband and depend on that survivor benefit. Now, by having the higher earner delay, you can maximize that survivor benefit, ensuring that the longer living spouse has more financial security in their later years of life. The reason I like this strategy so much is because it strikes a balance between short-term income and long-term protection. You're both not just relying on the portfolio to get you to full retirement age or 70. One of you is claiming early while you're still delaying the other benefit for later. But also be careful not to both claim early, which often can reduce that survivor protection for later on. Instead, you get the best of both immediate income now and maximum survivor protection later. And here's what's great. This strategy in the silo doesn't require a complex analysis. It's a simple, straightforward decision that addresses the biggest risk that most retirees face, which are running out of money too soon or leaving a surviving spouse vulnerable. So for couples, the spousal optimization strategy is a no-brainer. It provides cash flow in the early years and peace of mind for the later ones. Which brings us to our final piece. How do we actually put all of this together in a practical step-by-step way? Let me show you. The first thing you need to do is figure out your expenses and get very clear on what those are. There's a million different ways to do this, but you can do it very simply. You can just break it down into essential and discretionary categories, knowing exactly what you need to cover the basics like housing, food, healthcare, versus the things that are going to make your retirement more enjoyable, like travel and hobbies. Step 2 is to line that up with your income sources. See how much of your Social Security benefit can actually cover based on your expenses. And you want to know, can it cover your essentials? Or will an early claim date be less advantageous to your situation? You don't want to just blindly claim early, yet you also don't want to blindly delay. Now, step 3 is, if you're married, decide who should claim when. Now, you can use that spousal optimization approach to balance both the short-term income with the long-term survivor protection. Step 4, if you choose to claim early, you can use this to protect your portfolio by keeping your withdrawal rates modest, especially in those early years. Now, by doing so, as we talked about, you can let your investments keep growing while Social Security income is going to cover most or at least a portion of your overall essential expenses. And most importantly, step 5, we don't want to make any one decision in a silo, and your Social Security claiming decision is one of them, but it's important to consider how that affects everything else in your entire financial puzzle. Things like taxes, investments, and yes, your Social Security claiming strategy are all important pieces to solving your retirement puzzle with confidence, which is why you want to make sure you consider all of those factors before incorporating this into your financial plan, and especially before you claim Social Security. So I hope this was helpful to cover some of the unique advantages of claiming early and the supporting strategies that make this approach not only possible, but incredibly powerful when done correctly. And if you'd like help figuring out your own optimal Social Security claiming strategy, I'd love to talk with you. Just click the link below to book a call, and I'll walk through a personalized plan for your situation. Thanks for watching. I'm Kyle Kuyat, and I will see you next time.